Hi guys, and welcome to the channel. If this is your first time to the channel, we're talking about credit cards, points, finances, and travel. If this is something that interests you, please like the video, subscribe. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. I will get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you. One of the first things that I was advised to do in the MBA program I'm currently enrolled was to make sure I have a mentor. I was blessed enough to have a mentor early on that changed my life, and this is the subject of today's video. Growing up, the first influences we have in our lives are from our parents and our immediate family, uncles, cousins, whatever that might be. The problem is that many times these are not the best people to look after, not because they might be bad people, but they're not, they don't have the kinds of experiences that we would like to have, and they cannot really help us to achieve those targets. That might be financial targets, that might be that you want to be a great scientist, a great artist, a great actor, whatever that might be. When you go to climb Mount Everest, you want to have the best guide with you, and unfortunately many times we don't have the luxury of having this kind of people available immediately. So we really need to go out and look. In my case, I found my mentor through a girlfriend I had at the time. He was dating her mom, I was dating the daughter. So, you know, we all met and we stayed friends since. I had many people that tried to mentor me in the past. The only problem is that we like to follow what we see and not what we hear. So I was hearing a lot of great advice from many people. It was all coming from a good heart, and now by experience I know it was a good advice. But at the same time, because they didn't do it themselves, it was hard for me to follow and really listen. My mentor came here as a student many years ago from Trinidad and Tobago. And when he came in his mid-20s, he wasn't even that young. He was the top of his class. One of his professors ended up hiring him after he left, he finished school, and that's how he stayed. He stayed with the company 29 years. He went up to become a vice president, and 6-7 years ago, it was time for him to change, and he left the company. And right now he is a senior vice president in another company, and they're building big sewage systems and electrical and bridges and all kinds of heavy duty civil engineer things that you might be seeing around, even where you are, because they work in many states. But it was that image that I saw, and I would see his struggle. I was visiting year after year, spending time with him, and I would see the kind of work that he was putting in and the kind of frugalness that he had. I remember going to shopping with him, and he would get a pair of pants that was $10-15. I'm like, what are you doing? You're a vice president. You drive a nice car, you have a nice house. He's like, yeah, but these are for work. I'm gonna go to the construction site. I need to look presentable, but at the same time, I might just rip it off. And I'm washing them all the time, and once they get too bad, I can trash them. I'm like, wow. Like at the time, I was all about Gucci and Armani, and like even my underwear, they were Armani's. So I was spending my money for nothing. So, you know, at first I thought, okay, the guy is just, you know, cheap. But again, seeing his example, a few years later, we took a trip together. We drove his then brand new 911 turbo convertible from the DC area here all the way to Miami. And then we spent 11 days down in South Florida. We went all the way to Key West. And then on the way back, we stopped in Orlando, San Augustine, and Atlanta. And then we came back. That was the trip of my life at the time. I was like, oh my God, I was ecstatic. I remember being in a mall with him, a really fancy mall right there in the Miami area. What was the name? Anyway, so as I was in the mall, I said, "Oh my God, look at this building. This is amazing. I would love to be designing buildings like that." And he's like, "Well, let me tell you. At the time, keep in mind that at the time I was working at my father's businesses. So I was a waiter. Now I was in my father's businesses, but I was a waiter. I remember him telling me, you know, you will never have this kind of lifestyle by being a waiter. I'm like, why? He's like, do you think that all these people that you see around here shopping, they're waiters? Most of these people that shop in this kind of malls are business owners and high paid professionals. So I said, so what should I do? He's like, go back to school. And at 25, I made the decision to go back to school. Keep in mind, I left high school at 17 and change, and I haven't gotten to school from 17 to 25. So about 8 years. So I made that decision, and then at 26, I went to the architectural school. And I had to spend a few years. I finished first in my class, and then I came here for a master's degree. But the point is that I would never go back to school having the kind of lifestyle I had. I was free spirit. I was traveling. I had money. Didn't have any responsibilities. So for me, to make that kind of change of mindset and go back to school and start doing something, it was a big change, and I would never do it if it wasn't for him. Once I moved to the country, not only he helped me with all the basics, social security, insurance, driver's license, like he guided me for everything, right? But he showed me what it takes to make it to this country, especially in the first years. And I remember on those difficult days that I had early on, that he was always next to me, but he never helped financially. And I remember him saying, I will not let you drown, but I want you to learn how to swim. So that was stuck in my head, and in my darkest days, I never picked up the phone to call him and ask for money. And this really helped me to grow as a person. It was a very brutal, but especially useful learning curve. And I'm very happy that I came out of it stronger and better, I think. And as he likes to say, the strongest steel comes from the hottest fire. And this is the case, I believe. In ancient Greece, people used to say that the family that doesn't have a grandfather needs to buy one. And that goes to say that you need somebody with experience to guide you. And if you don't have a role model, if you don't have somebody that can guide you and that you can look after, and if you don't have somebody that you can get inspiration from, it's going to be very hard for you to achieve what you want, whatever that is, whatever you want to achieve. So it's crucial that you get a role model that you will follow, somebody that will be there for an advice. And in some extent, watching YouTube videos can take some part of that role. If you're somewhere that you don't see anyone around you that can help you with that, being subscribed on the right channels and getting that kind of positive energy of good information can be extremely helpful. And it can be for whatever subject. It can be for whatever subject. And keep in mind that mentors can be dynamic. A mentor can take you up to a certain level, and then maybe you need to find another mentor. And you need to filter information and know where every special mentor can take you. So sometimes, you don't have to have one mentor. You can have two or three. And one will take you to the next step, and then the next and then the other mentor to the next. So yeah, Let me know what you guys think. Do you have a mentor? Do you think it's important or not? Thank you so much for watching. Until the next one, ciao.